Hello friends, welcome to KT Research Guidance Bureau. Myself, Dr. Komodini R. Thakur, would like to give you brief idea about the Bureau. This Bureau is helpful to research students, those who are doing their PhD work, moreover, those who are interested to do minor research project, major research project, or any other related research studies. This bureau also gives guidelines to postgraduate students, especially those who are doing their MCom, MBA, and other post degree courses. This bureau helps them to increase their knowledge, and if they are interested to continue their studies and want to do their research work, then they can select any of the topic and can continue their research work on the same topic. Moreover, this bureau is helpful to those students who are interested to appear in NET, SLAT, and other competitive exams and wants to get success. So please do one thing for the bureau. Please subscribe the bureau, give your comments, and do favor for the bureau. I hope this much you will do. Today we are going to learn one of the main thing, that is survey method. Right now our Prime Minister Narendra Modi got a award, and this agency conducted a survey, and in that survey they gave the award to our Prime Minister. That is proud for us. So, what is survey? How to conduct the survey? Everything we are going to learn today. A survey is a research method used for collecting data for a predefined group of respondents to gain information and insights into various topics of interest. So, you have to collect the data, and then you have to arrange these data in that manner so that these data can give you meaningful information. Collection tool focuses on factual information about individuals, or it might aim to collect the opinion of the people for specific incident, scheme, subject by survey. Let's try to understand with a simple example. Suppose you are interested to know whether this KT Research Guidance Bureau helps the research students or not. Then you can conduct a survey. You can consider the opinion of subscribers and viewers, and then you can understand this data, and on the basis of this information you can give your opinion. So the survey may be related to individual, or you can take any government scheme also. On that also you can do survey and can focus on the scheme, that whether this scheme is useful or not. So survey may have one purpose or multiple purpose. It depends on the researcher and the methodology which the researcher has selected for his study purpose. Researcher can adopt survey method and can fulfill his objectives. Many times what happens? Suppose a organization or a institution is not satisfied with the present data, then they can conduct the survey. And UGC also focuses on students' feedback. So every year they have to collect this information, and generally they select final degree students. Why? Because now they are going to get the degree and they have the experience. If you select first year students, then it may possible that they have some fear and they may not give you the correct information. So generally they select last year students and can get feedback so that they can maintain the quality of education. So this also possible, and many organizations they do these things. So if you want to conduct a survey, then you have to understand mainly two basic things. One is population, or you can say universe, and another one is sampling. So when you consider total number of observers having a specific characteristics, then it is population. I gave you the example of KT Research Guidance Bureau. And suppose there are 500 subscribers and 10,000 viewers. You consider opinion of all these viewers and subscribers, then it is an opinion of population. And then it is a census method. But when the data is very big, or the population is very big, that time obviously you have to find out the another way. That another way is sample. So sample refers to a part of the population selected for analysis to draw inferences about the population. So in sampling, what you do? You select some of the units or some of the members from the population, and then you draw your conclusions. So these selected numbers and units or the persons are called as a representative of the population. And the process of drawing a sample from a population is called sampling. So this much definition and these basic things you have to remember. So see this picture. The big circle highlights total population, and among this total population you select some of the persons. Then these persons, or you can say units, they are known as sample. So two things are clear in your mind. One is population and another one is sampling. Now population have two types. One, finite and infinite population, and another one is quantitative and qualitative population. So let's begin with finite and infinite. When the population comprises a finite, means definite number of items, then it is called finite population. Suppose income of the person, age, that are the examples of finite population, means you can count them. And when the population comprises of an indefinite number of items, then it is infinite population. Suppose stars in the sky. Your head here these are the example of infinite population. And quantitative and qualitative population means when characteristics of interest can be expressed numerically, such as height, weight, etc., then it is quantitative. You can count them, you can express in number. And when the characteristics of interest is only a quality such as beauty, love, emotions, then it is qualitative population. And generally, compared to qualitative population, quantitative population surveys gives better result, because you can highlight it in a number. That, and in qualitative the criteria may differ person to person. So these basic things you have to keep in mind. Now let's try to understand census method and sampling method in detail. First of all, meaning. So far as census is concerned, it collects and records the data about entire member of the population. So I gave the idea that when you consider the opinion of all subscriber and all viewers, then it is census method. And when a portion of the population selected to represent the entire group, then it is sampling method. This difference you have to keep in mind. And next thing is, in census you check each and every unit or person. So obviously it is a complete method. And in sampling, only you test or check limited number. So comparatively it is a partial method, because you ignore maybe 60% or more than that one also. So in census method, it requires more time and more cost, because you are going to check each and every unit. And compared to that, sampling method is little bit faster and having less cost. But both methods have their own value. They are suitable in different types of situations. So when the population is heterogeneous in nature, then you have to use census method. But when the population is homogeneous in nature, that time you can use sampling method. And many times generally we use sampling method to test so many things. In census method, you consider total number of the population. So obviously chances of errors are very less. And in sampling method, it depends on the sample size of the population. If sample size is very less, then chances of errors are more, and it happens. So obviously accuracy and reliability of results are more in census method, while in sampling method it may be less. But if a experienced hand adopts the sampling method for data collection, then he has wide experience. He knows everything. That time Sampling method also can give better results. So in every case, it is not like that. And in census method, you test entire population. So chances of bias, they are very less. While in sampling method, it may be too high. How it is possible? Suppose right now BJP is the ruling party and they adopted a scheme for the people, that this scheme is beneficial for the people, and they launched the scheme. But if a person, he is against BJP and he conducts the survey, then he find out the persons who are against BJP and he consider their opinion. So obviously there is a negative opinion. So it is my humble request to you that when you use sampling method, that time keep your mind open. And if you want to get real picture, then don't develop any hypothesis, because if you develop the hypothesis, then you will try to justify every time. But if you are honest and a good researcher, then with the help of sampling method, you can give good results also. Then, so far as size of the population is concerned, in census it is finite, and obviously in sampling it is infinite. If you adopt census method, that time trained staff is required, and the speed of data collection is less, and it is very difficult to administer the survey. And on the contrary, in sampling, you can manage your work with less quality people, and speed is also more, and administration convenience is also little bit more. So this is the difference between census method and sampling method. So as per your requirement, you have to select the method. Now suppose you want to do survey with the help of sampling method. Then how to design your method? That time, first of all, keep in mind type of universe. Means your universe, your population is finite or infinite in nature. Second thing is, find out total number of your population. You can say size of the population. After getting the data about the total units, make a source list. If you will prepare a source list, then it will be easy to collect the data from them. Then decide size of the sample. And after that, decide parameters of interest, what you want to find out. Otherwise, what will happen? You may forget your main objectives and you can collect the data for other items. They may be not useful. Then keep in mind your budgetary constraint. And after doing everything, start your sampling process. This way, you can design your sampling plan. Now you want to do your survey method. You want to do survey. For that, you adopted sampling method. So it is better to understand something about sampling. So far as methods of sampling is concerned, you can divide mainly into two categories. One is random sampling and another one is non-random sampling. So far as random sampling is concerned, again you can divide into two categories: simple or unrestricted random sampling, and another one is restricted random sampling. Now, so far as restricted random sampling is concerned, again you can divide into mainly three categories. One is stratified sampling, second is cluster sampling, and third one is systematic sampling. And so far as non-random sampling is concerned, you can divide into three categories. First is judgment or purposive sampling, second quota sampling, and third one is convenience sampling. I would like to give you brief idea about most popular and usable techniques. So, first let's begin with random sampling and non-random sampling. Random sampling, referred to as that sampling technique where the probability of choosing each sample is equal. So obviously randomly you will select from the population. So chances of selection, they are equal for all. While in non-random sampling, you design the strategy for selection. So chances of selection are not equal for all. Then randomly you select. So obviously it is free from bias. And in non-random sampling, chances of bias are more. So far as random sampling is concerned, it is based on probability, while non-random sampling, other factors such as convenience, judgment, and experience of research, these are also considered. So it is not based on probability. Another point is, so far as random sampling is concerned, it represent of entire population, while non-random sampling, it there is lacks the representation of the entire population, and chances of zero probability is concerned, in random sampling it never happens, while in non-random sampling it may be. And so far as complexity is concerned, random sampling means very easy and very simple technique, while non-random sampling is little bit complicated compared to random sampling. It is also very easy. Once you got the idea, then it is easy. But compared to random, it is little bit complex. Random sampling gives you superior results, and non-random sampling maybe, may not be. It depends. So far as personal element is concerned, in random sampling it is very less, and in non-random it is very high. So far as survey method is concerned, you have to use random sampling, and it is most popular method, while if you want to do case study, then non-random sampling is useful. Means both method have their own value, and when the population is heterogeneous in nature, then don't use random sampling. When it is homogeneous, then use random sampling, and vice versa. Non-random is very useful when the population having heterogeneous nature. So this much things you have to keep in mind for sampling method. Now random sampling having two categories. One is simple random sampling and another one is restricted random sampling. I will give you one diagram, and with the help of that diagram we will try to understand this sampling method. See this diagram. Picture 1 gives you the idea about the population. Picture 2, in that one black round is there. It highlights that these persons you have selected for your survey. Means first row no selection, second row you selected randomly, in third row there is no criteria between second row and third row. Same is the case for every rows. Means randomly you can select anyone, no criteria for the selection. That time it is known as simple random sampling, and it is very useful. Now see the another diagram. Picture 1 gives the idea about the population. From the population, you divided this population in two classes. One is having black color, another one having the different color. So it is strata. As per the color or as per the height, as per the age, you can classify them. Then randomly you selected. From black color you selected 2, and second row also 2, but there is no connection between first row selection and second row selection. Same is the case for third and fourth one. So picture third one gives the idea about randomly selection, and this selection of this person is called sample, and the total procedure is known as sampling method. So this way you can understand stratified sampling, and from that stratified sampling how you can select the sample. Now see this diagram. In this diagram 5 pictures are there. First one is about the entire population. Second picture gives you the idea about simple random sampling. You selected some of the units from the population randomly. Third unit or third picture gives you the idea about systematic sampling. See, second picture and third picture. And third picture shows that with a regular interval you selected the person. So systematically you selected. Your gap may be 2, 5, 6, it depends. So systematically you selected them, means you adopted a method, and on the basis of that method you selected your sample. Now come to picture 4. First you divided your population in two stratas. First one having the another color, second having the another color, and then you will select. And the picture number 5 gives the idea about cluster sampling. You divided your total population in different clusters. So let's try to understand the difference between stratified sampling and cluster sampling. So far as stratified sampling is concerned, the population is divided into homogeneous segments, and then the sample is randomly taken from that sample segments. While in cluster sampling, the members of the population are selected at random from naturally occurring groups is called cluster. So far as stratified sampling is concerned, in that one, individuals are taken randomly from all the strata, while in cluster sampling, individuals are taken from randomly selected clusters. And in stratified sampling, selection of population element is individually, and in cluster it is collectively. So far as stratified sampling is concerned, homogeneity is within the group, and in cluster sampling it is between the group. So this way you can understand stratified and cluster sampling. Another differences are also there, but they are like representativeness, sampling error, and cost. In stratified, it is more, while in cluster sampling, generally it is less. So today we tried to understand survey method, and in that one mainly sampling method. I hope you enjoyed the session, and please keep in mind, subscribe the channel, give your comments, and favor my bureau. Thank you very much. So nice of you.